Hey, what's up? Having been pretty obsessed with the Jaguar lately, this last year. I've been playing all the cartridge games. I mean, really, it's pretty easy to forget about the CD games as well. And in all fairness, there was only like 10 legitimate CD games. And I mean, who actually owns a Jaguar CD? About 20,000 sold. So maybe it was maybe like one in six Jaguar owners bought a Jaguar CD, and like there was already not many Jaguar owners back then. So yeah, it's funny that such an expensive and rare piece of hardware. The games themselves, if you look at Jaguar CD games, they're mostly really cheap. Because I mean, obviously CDs were pretty cheap to manufacture, and you can manufacture a lot of them in comparison to cartridges. Except Primal Rage. I think weirdly Primal Rage is maybe like one of the most expensive games, which is probably the only time you can say that for Primal Rage, I don't know. But yeah, so the Jaguar CD, obviously I don't own a Jaguar CD, so playing the Jaguar CDs on emulation, it's quite cool to see. It's quite cool to get to experience the Jaguar, sort of the emulation side, because emulating is how most people realistically will play any games on Jaguar, and in all fairness, BIG PeEMU, the Jaguar emulator, is fucking awesome. It's one of the best emulators I've ever used easily. There's like next to no setup, but you can like totally configure everything. It's got loads of settings, but like out of the box, it's fucking awesome. It's like, I mean, I'm used to seeing what the Jaguar games run like, and BIG PeEMU is pretty much one for one. You might notice maybe a few sound differences. There's like a slight difference in some of the cartridge games' sound, and obviously the performance on the CD games can be a bit spotty in the sound department, especially, and when playing FMV. But even in pretty long-standing emulators, even like emulating PS1 games and shit, you can get a lot of problems with the music. The whole emulating a CD kind of thing. It's pretty sketchy regardless of the console. So really, you can't blame the Jag CD emulation. It's an awesome emulator, really. So yeah, emulating Jag CD games is the only way I'm going to play them, even as a Jaguar owner, so I just want to talk about them because they're quite interesting. There's a lot of Jaguar exclusive, the Jaguar CD Homebrew, pardon me, some of that's quite interesting, but I'll probably talk about Homebrew separately. I just want to talk about the Jag CD games first. Sort of the first one I think of is World Tour Racing. It's pretty good. It's a very basic, it's a very arcadey feeling racing game. The music's really good. It's the same people who made Val d'Isère, I think. And yeah, most of the tracks in the game, the controls are kind of weird. You don't really get much of a sense that you're turning. It feels very, I don't know, like you're picked off the ground and you sort of aim and you sort of drift through the air as you turn. It's really weird and doesn't feel like any other racing game I've played, but it's not bad. It's just a bit awkward. It'll take you a wee minute to sort of get out the feel for it. But I really like how this game looks as well. There's a lot of, the landscapes are quite repetitive, because there's actually like a level editor you can see that you can use cheat codes to get into, and you can see the way that they've just like modularly, block by block, section by section, kind of put the levels together. So the tracks are a little bit repetitive, but they're bright, nice, lots of like grassy hills and trees and camper vans and passing details in the houses. So you get a really good sense of speed in this game as well. There's one track I really like that's sort of like a coastal city, and they make some really creative uses of like the building placement to make you feel like you're sort of going down these streets and these narrow like hill lanes coming up to a coast under like these arching buildings. It makes a really interesting use of its limited track designs, even though most of them are quite samey. The music's really good. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the sort of music you'd have on like a sort of Sega Saturn game. It's definitely got that feel. Yeah, it feels less like Virtua Racing, like Checkered Flag, and feels more like Daytona, kind of adjacent, But obviously not as good as Daytona, of course not, but it's still very fun, and I really do quite like it. If you like arcade racing games, you'll definitely get something out of it, Unless you're Jimmy Mc only plays racing games for their fidelity, in which case you'll probably fucking hate it, but then you'll probably fucking hate any racing game that isn't like Daytona, so yeah. Yeah, I like World Tour Racing. The music's nice. It feels very arcadey and feels very like I say, it feels very Saturn adjacent. So I quite like its atmosphere. And there's VidGrid. Oh, VidGrid's funny. There's only a lot of old PCs, and it pretty much is just like a showcase for like, hey guys, look, we can process video now. It's basically like a load of music videos from like 96, 97, but cut up into like a sliding tile puzzle. So like the video will play, and you've got to finish doing the puzzle by the time that the music video stops. So pretty much this song is like a time limit. It's pretty cool. So it's like sliding tiles, rotating the tiles, like jigsaw style, lots of different styles, lots of different variations on your usual tile puzzle shit. I mean, the menus feel very PC, feel like menus from like an old PC game, and obviously the music is just like actual music. You've got some Soundgarden. I'm a big fucking Soundgarden fan. I love my Soundgarden, so it was very funny to see Soundgarden on Atari Jaguar. That's really quite a cool combination of things that I like there. There's like a Red Hot Chili Peppers. There might have been a Black Sabbath guy. I don't fucking know. Ozzy Osbourne, yeah, is one of his singles. There might be like a Van Halen or fucking, I don't know my like fucking classic metal. I don't really like it. Yeah, just a lot of the big like random like hair metal tracks from the era. It's a very 96 kind of game. You play this game and it's just like you're playing like a 90s music channel, a music TV channel. But like, yeah, it's simple. That's really it. It's just sliding tile puzzles, but you watch a music video. It's a funny idea, really, and it's really, again, it's really weird to see. Like, it's just like, it's sort of like a technical showcase, I guess. But I mean, hey, like I say, I'm a big Soundgarden fan, so that was really funny to fucking play Spoon Man as a literal tile puzzle. But I mean, yeah, the song choice is good, obviously, but there's not really much to this game. I don't imagine there's many people that want to play a whole game of nothing but sliding tile puzzles, but the novelty's still there. And there's a game, I'm pretty sure there's actually a demo, so we're going to take a little detour. I've just mixed in all like the demos and betas, not homebrews, I'll consider them different, but if there's an unfinished Jag CD game, I'm just going to talk about it here. And Varuna's Forces is really interesting. So it's like clearly going for like some sort of FMV. I mean, obviously the game doesn't actually exist. There's no gameplay. You boot this up and you just get the cutscenes. So you get some really great FMV of like these people who are meant to be like prisoners on some spaceship. It's like really edgy 90s sci-fi FMV game type shit, and they're all like, oh yeah, I'm David the scientist and you should recruit me because I've cut up so many fucking people, and everyone just sounds like a total psychopath, and it's just be like, yeah, you're meant to choose one of these people and then they'll help you on the mission. And obviously the game doesn't exist. They only made the cutscenes, and that's all that's on the ROM or the ISO, I guess. So if you want some cheesy FMV, then boot up Varuna's Forces. It's got some cool CG, some cool like spaceship going into like onto like a cool planet type CG, but it's literally just a bunch of FMV cutscenes. Yeah, let's talk about Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Brain Dead 13. I'm bundling them together because they're pretty similar. You know what they are, those Laserdisc arcade games where you got just some dude from Disney, some like second-hand Disney guy who made them, put them into arcades to suck up all your coins. Yeah, I do not like Dragon's Lair or Space Ace, or Brain Dead 13 is the closest to being something I like. But yeah, you know what they're like. It's just like, oh, here's a cutscene, here's a video, press this button, press a random button at a random time to maybe survive, and just keep guessing it shit for like 30 minutes. It's fucking stupid. I really don't think these games are fun in the slightest. I mean, the animation's good, sure, but it's kind of cut up, and it feels like you're not really watching a proper animation. They're very fast paced, and they don't really have much of a focus. They literally just feel like they're there to give you a bunch of action scenes to work through. So it's not really like you're watching like a Disney film or like a nice cartoon. It's like you're watching a really rushed cartoon, and just pressing a bunch of button prompts. And more likely you're losing, because I can't fucking get like more than 2 screens into one of these games. Brain Dead 13, I got a few screens in. But fuck, man, Dragon's Lair, Space 8, just I can't get fucking anywhere in these games. They are absolutely infuriating, and they make me go insane. They're cool. They're very interesting products, but man, I don't think they're fun. Just watch the freaking cartoon online, honestly. And there's a game called Robinson's Requiem, and I don't think this was actually released back in the day. I think this was one of these games that went unreleased and then got released later by like Songbird, or one of like the publishers who does a lot of Jag stuff. And it's alright, it's quite cool. It's like a first person adventure survival kind of thing. Sort of point and click adjacent. It's like in the future, sci-fi, dudes stranded on other planets. There's a bit of FMV, bit of cheesy FMV that's quite badly dubbed, which is really always got to be loved. So yeah, you kind of just walk around a big overworld map, and you go to caves, and you collect items, and you point and click your way around, and you presumably solve some intricate sci-fi mystery and find out why you've been stranded. I think the plot is like I don't fucking remember what the plot is. I don't really like games like this, honestly, but it's cool. It's an interesting game, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm just not into point and clicks that are so sort of, I don't know, a point and click needs to have a really specific visual style, I think, to work for me and my ADD brain and my need for, I don't know, not thinking when I play a game. Yeah, Robinson's Requiem. I'm sure it's a cool game if you got into it, but it's quite slow. It's quite slow, and I'll be real, I didn't really play it for more than like 10 minutes. It really just turned me off. And I guess it's in a similar realm to Myst, which is also on Jag CD. And I've played Myst on Saturn. Of all versions to play, I've played it on Saturn a bit for a few hours. And I'll say this, the Jaguar CD version, I think it loads a lot faster. Like the transitions between screens, I think is a lot faster on Jag Myst than Saturn Myst. I noticed that anyway. But yeah, Myst's music is awesome. It's got a great atmosphere because of that. All its old PC game style menus, and it's got a great visual style, Myst. But again, I don't really like point and click. Sorry, that's a me thing. It's a great game, Myst. I don't need to sit here and tell you about Myst. But the Jaguar CD version is interesting. It's probably one of the better console ports, honestly, I would have thought. I mean, it'd be nice to play it with a mouse, sure. Myst must have came out on PlayStation, right? I'm pretty sure it did, and PlayStation has a mouse. So the PlayStation port might just be the best port, just because it has a mouse. And no, Saturn has a mouse as well, but like I say, I think it runs a little faster on Jaguar. I'm not sure. There's someone out there who could tell you what the best version of Myst on console is, and it's not me. But I'll tell you that the Jaguar version is pretty much as good as any other. And there's a cool little Easter egg where if you like enter a code and look up at like the observatory in the start of the game, you see like an image of like the people who made the game at the Jaguar at the Atari headquarters. Sorry, it's a really nice little group photo. It's very cool. Yeah, then there's Primal Rage. Let's bring that up. Primal Rage is quite fun, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of like fighting games where you don't really play as humans. There's not many of those, I guess, but like I don't know. It's just I don't really get the same satisfaction out of seeing a bunch of dinosaurs punch each other as I do seeing people punch each other. You know, I hope I can say that on YouTube. But yeah, Primal Rage on Jaguar, it's probably very close to the arcade compared to a lot of other versions from what I've heard. I've never really played much Primal Rage. I think I probably played Primal Rage on 32X and Genesis. That's about it. Obviously the arcade version will be the best, but Jaguar, because it gets the extra, because it's quite a powerful console compared to something like the Mega Drive, or I think it's even quite a bit more powerful than a wee bit more powerful than the 32X. Basically, Primal Rage on Jaguar is probably... Oh. Something came in the door. I think that's the mail. I think the mail just came in. That or I'm being burgled. Let's go see. There's a dead fly stuck on this envelope. That's lovely. It's just fucking bank statements, I think. The most boring looking letters you could ever get, honestly. Come on, little fly, off you go. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Primal Rage. Yeah, Primal Rage on Jaguar is alright. It's probably better than most versions that were on console. The music sounds very much like it's from the arcade. It's not a CD soundtrack at all. It sounds very much programmed. So I'd assume it's very close music to the arcade's music. But yeah, Primal Rage. It's fine. I don't know. Iron Soldier 2. Now this is more interesting. Yeah, so it's like Iron Soldier 1 pretty much, just with more weapons, more enemies. It looks fucking awesome. It might be one of the best, if not the best looking Jaguar games, I think. And that's on both cart and CD. But the CD version has the cool, sick-ass FMV and the music. That's really what you want. Yeah, the textures look lovely, honestly. They're really sparse, and they really add to this game's ambience. And the FMV in the start is really cool. The cart version uses screen caps from it, just for like showing the vague story, but seeing the actual FMV is much cooler. It's a nice like slow-paced 5-minute like evening city sort of getting blasted by like a mech. It's cool. It's a cool ass opening, good atmosphere. And yeah, I've said it, but I fucking love the music in Iron Soldier 2. That CD soundtrack. It's definitely a better version to play than the cart version, and it's probably cheaper as well, I think, funnily. So, who owns a Jaguar CD? If you own a Jaguar CD, you probably have both copies of Iron Soldier. So, I mean, you might as well play it on CD, I guess. Similarly, Hover Strike is pretty much the same. It's pretty much just Hover Strike, but now with CD music that's pretty groovy, pretty jazzy. Like jazz rock, prog rocky kind of organs and guitars kind of shit. And it has an FMV opening as well it reminds me of like the FMV in Battle Morph. We'll get to that. That's a good game. And I think it's also, I don't really think it performs much better. I think it's pretty much one for one the same as the cart version. There might be slight differences in the level design. There's new like images on the menu. They've updated the UI and stuff like that. But the actual game is pretty much the same. And it's still pretty solid, I think. But yeah, I guess I'll just mention it. Yeah, Battle Morph. Battle Morph's fucking awesome. It might be my favourite Jag CD game, I think. Certainly, I think it has the most worth to it. There's a lot of levels and a lot of content, and it's basically Cybermorph if they actually got to finish it. Because Cybermorph, you can say what you like about Cybermorph, but like that game is absolutely clearly not finished. Like it does not feel finished in the slightest. It's so empty feeling, but Battle Morph is fucking awesome. All the gliding movement and the sort of the very basic but satisfying combat of Cybermorph is here, and now in actual levels that give you proper missions. Like I was saying, that's kind of what Cybermorph needed. But Battle Morph's missions are diverse. Man, you can like fuck it. It moves great. There's boss fights that are all quite cool. You can go underwater. Like anytime there's a body of water, if you just dive down, you'll go underwater, and there's like whole underwater sections as well that are really fucking cool. There's like you can go into buildings, and buildings will then have you in like an indoor space. So there's you're going through a lot of different environments, They get really creative with them as well. I remember one level I played was like a huge, like loads of bridges going over each other, mountains, there's like broken up bits of city. It's Cybermorph, but if they actually got to make a really good game out of it. And it fucking is. The music's cool, like the color choices and sparseness and the atmosphere from Cybermorph's still there, but now it doesn't feel just desolate and empty because there's music and much more going on, much more mechanics, much more pickups and collectibles. Quite busy and dense levels, but they never feel like they're really filled with nothing. Everything sort of feels like it has a use and will always be useful to you. And yeah, just the fucking going underwater, the screen changes, having like a whole underwater area in every level, every bit of water you can go under. It's fucking cool, and like all the indoor spaces look really nice as well. Really sparse, minimal, liminal type spaces. Like you go through caves and tunnels, and it's just a fucking awesome game. Battle Morph is great, and yeah, awesome time. Let's talk about Baldies. Baldies is a port of an Amiga game. It's like a sort of civilization builder. But also kind of like real-time strategy as well. You gotta make guys do work, make all your baldies, your bald dudes, they work, they have different jobs. You sort of make them build up a small community. Then you got to go send them to war with their neighbouring baldies, and this is not my sort of game, but it's a pretty good game, and I really quite like its music. Very relaxing feel. I will give this game that. It feels very relaxing, and I love the FMV opening of like it's like a claymation. It's really cute and really nice music. Really nicely done opening. Yeah, whoever did the that claymation looks sick. Really cool. But yeah, it's not really much to say about Baldies. It's just like a real-time like a god sim. It's not a genre I have any real experience in. I don't like it. Someone else out there will tell you a better thing about Baldies, but you'll know if you'll like it. So, you know, I'd rather talk about Black Ice, White Noise, the demo, the unfinished little prototype for like the cyberpunk open world Jaguar game. It looks fucking awesome. You pretty much just walk around. There's no real mechanics or anything much programmed in, at least from what I played. And it's just like a fucking huge city. I got so lost going through here. There's like buildings you can enter, rooms you can explore, there's cars going by. Quite a few different types of buildings as well. It is a fucking fascinating prototype. Just to think that there was someone out there trying to make like an open world adventure story heavy game on Jaguar. That's fucking cool, you know, and it would be so cool if it got more work done on it. But it's a very fascinating prototype. Black Ice, White Noise, definitely check that out. And Blue Lightning. Now Blue Lightning, it has to be said, runs like garbage on, or at least it did for me, on emulation. Not just the music sounding like crap, but it just like runs awful. But obviously that's not Blue Lightning's fault or the emulator's fault, really. That's just how it is. The music sounds cool. I like any game that uses like live guitars that are as noisy and distorted as Blue Lightning's. But yeah, it's like a 2D sprites going very fast, air combat on rails shooter kind of deal. Think like you're sort of like something like Space Harrier, but obviously not fantasy. What's the other Sega game I'm trying to think of that's like this? I can't remember offhand. I'll know it when I've played, because I've played it on 32X and it's really good. But yeah, it's like an arcadey on rails, air combat, jet flying forward, shoot down the dudes, send out missiles, avoid buildings. It looks cool, it goes fast as hell, but I've not got much to say because, again, it runs like crap on emulation, but still, cool game. And I'm going to mention Highlander. Now this might be the best. This might be the most interesting CD game. I might have already said that for something else, but this is the real one. Highlander, yeah. It's based on the Highlander cartoon. Not the films or anything. Just the cartoon, like the 90s ass looking kids show. I don't know why Highlander got a kids show, but it did. This game is just fucking fascinating. I don't know where to even begin. I mean, I know where to begin because I'm a Highlander. As a literal Highlander, this game makes me very happy. Yeah, it's very funny to see like all these Scottish surnames being spoken by people who are very clearly not Scottish, but I don't mind, obviously. Who cares? But yeah, I just think it's funny that there's a Highlander cartoon that's on Jaguar. It just makes me very proud as like I say, a literal Highlander. I'm very proud of this. Although it has to be said, I've not come across the massive fuck off desolate mountain canyons, the big canyons. I've not come across those yet in the Highlands. I don't know what part of the Highlands the canyons are in, or like the big junkyard underwater city. I'm not sure. It's probably like outside Inverness somewhere, I would have thought. But yeah, this game is like what would you call it, really? I guess an adventure game. It's like a sort of, it's one of those like point and clicks where you don't point and click, you move a dude. So you run around, you bonk enemies, you shoot enemies once you get the gun. That's pretty good. You try and pick up items, inventory puzzles. I don't know. I think just showing off this game is a better idea. Yeah, this game just has loads of really cool moments. You'll be walking along, you'll pick up a random item, and you'll be given like a cutscene from the show. It's really out of place, and really clashes with all the art style of the game, all the flat polygons and the sort of very spongy, very abstract looking CGI, like frames in the background. Yeah, some really great pre-rendered backgrounds in this game. It's got a great atmosphere. You start off in like a wee village, and then go up a big tower, get some cool views, get your sword, and you go kill dudes, go through the canyons. It's not too long a game as well, but it probably will take you quite a while to get through. I kind of cheated and used the invincibility, the overpowered chicken that kills everything in one hit. That's pretty good fun. But if you actually wanted to sit down and beat this game proper, it'd probably be quite a challenge, honestly. It's definitely a bit, it's a very awkward game to play, but I feel like when you get a feel for it, you can probably get on top of it. And once you're used to it, I bet you could beat this game in like 3 hours probably. But yeah, you just walk around, punch guys vaguely, collect things, try and find where they go. But it's just all the little moments are fascinating, you know. The way random items get used for like random doors, but it still makes sense. It's actually not very cryptic a game. For this kind of game, it's pretty easy to work out what goes where, so you'll never feel too confused. Yeah, all the like random little like, all the FMV like this, not like the cartoon clips, but the CGI FMV that comes out to like display objects to show the world around you. It's fucking... Oh, it's like peak weird, out of nowhere, stilted FMV that just like so jarring and just leaves you slightly unsettling. I fucking love it though. This game's atmosphere is cool. It's doing some really cool shit. It ends very suddenly as well because they actually planned like two games that were meant to be sequels to this one to continue the story. So it was meant to be a trilogy. So it's a shame they never got to see that to the end. But yeah, the puzzles aren't too hard to work out. The last one, get into the big engine room and having to put in the coloured code. I found that a bit awkward. I think I was just inputting the code wrong because I knew what it was, but that was fine. But I think I was just not knowing how to put in the numbers correctly, because you don't put in the numbers, you're meant to like fill bars by like certain amounts, and the amounts are showing on boards. It's confusing, and I wasn't really sure about that, but it's not too, you can probably mess around with it more longer than I did, you know. Yeah, the combat is very basic and very brute force, but it's really not that bad, I don't think, once you get used to it, you know. You just got to make sure you position yourself properly. It's not really like, the action is very it's not very immediate, you know. It's very much you got to stand there and let the enemy come to you. It's all just about timing one or two attacks. You really don't feel like you're fighting as that much as you are just sort of entering attack commands. Yeah. But all the pre-rendered backgrounds, all the random FMVs, this game is just like weird in the best kind of way. Really fascinating. And if you play with the cheat codes on, it makes for a really interesting experience. Yeah, Highlander's cool. That's pretty much it. Oh no, American Hero. I forgot American Hero. Another unfinished game. This is much more of an FMV game. Whatever Varuna's Forces was, American Hero actually has all of the cutscenes were all finished, and that's what's there. If you boot up the game, you're just getting cutscenes played. There's no menus, nothing. So at least you can experience the whole story. You can see all the cutscenes, all the bad endings as well, all the fake game overs and stuff, you know. But man, this fucking game, this game just kind of makes you realize, wow, yeah, Atari, they were getting kind of desperate, weren't they? This game's about some action hero type guy, some fucking Bruce Willis type bloke. He's gonna go save his ex, I think. She's a scientist from like some gang of evil guys who are trying to like put chemicals in the city, trying to like make people into zombies through science, you know, and take over the world. It's very stupid, and so Johnny McWillis has to go and kick a bunch of guys in the head, just action man his way through a bunch of situations for really no reason. I'm not sure what happens. All I remember is all the fucking softcore porn in this. There's a lot of boob. This pretty much every woman that fucking Johnny meets, I'm just gonna call him Johnny. His name's probably John. I'm sure his name is John actually, if I remember correctly. It's always fucking John. But yeah, he action mans his way, trying to find the villain to save the world, or his girl. I'm not sure, I guess both. So I just, yep, just sort of half decent, like 90s budget action film, kind of action. Then there'll be like there'll look like a clothed sex scene. It's so fucking awkward. It's like every woman he comes across in the fucking story has to have sex with them. It's fucking awful, but my god, is it funny? It's so cheap. It's so shitty. Yeah, it's like a third of all the FMVs are just like softcore porn, tits out. You don't see anything more than that. Spliced in among all the action scenes that already aren't the most interesting, and there's not really much of a story per se. I suppose when they were trying to make it a game where it's like you choose, just like a visual novel type deal, where it's just like choose your path, choose what Johnny does, choose how he, choose which man he punches, sort of shit, you know. But it's a really fucking stupid FMV action film game thing with a lot of softcore porn and titties in it, and it's not even very. It's not erotic at all. It's just stupid. It's just like fucking like. It's just like the seediest, fucking cheapest ass kind of shit there is. But I have to respect this game for what it's doing. It's awful, and the fact it never even released is the best bit. All the FMV was finished as well, dude. They just had to program like 20 lines of code for playing which video file when you make a certain decision. It's great. So yeah, whatever American Hero was, it was not finished, but you can still watch the whole film. It's quite something. It's crap. The action's alright. The dialogue is B-movie level. Some of it's pretty entertaining, but man, it's not like a terrible bad film. It's more just like a sort of vaguely boring B-movie that has some kind of cool action at times. It's kind of funny and cheesy at times as well. And obviously the sex scenes are really awkward and just end up being really funny, I thought. But it's nothing really that special. Like I say, there's not really any story. But hey, I'm sure if it came out, it wouldn't have saved the Jaguar. I don't think softcore porn would have saved the Jaguar, guys. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's most of the Jaguar CD games. I think that's all of them, plus some of the finished games that got released later by publishers, and some unfinished demos and shit. So I hope you have enjoyed me rambling and being an idiot, because I couldn't be fucked editing all these CD games and my thoughts about them. I'm just gonna sit here and say the things I would have put in a script, but I'm just gonna do it like this, so that in a casual, on the spot, improvised way, so I don't have to edit shit, because I'm very lazy and my computer's been kind of fucked this month. Thanks for watching. Bye.